We offer our most respectful obeisances of all Vaishnavas devoted to the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Jai Vanchakapa Durubhyascha Krikasinu Vyebhacha. Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopinana Malaba Giribaru Rahude Gopinana Malaba Giribaru Rahude Yasodanana Rajajanaranyana Yasodanana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachare Yamuna Tira Banachare Jai Ranu Madhuva Kunya Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopijana Malaba Iribaruda Gopijana Vallabha Iribaruda Iribaruda Sudanana Rajajanu Ranjana Sudanana Rajajanu Ranjana Jamuna Tira Manachade Yamuna Tevra Manachari Jayu Radhamadhuva Kunjabi Khahuti Jayu Radhamadhuva Kunjabi Khahuti Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravidikacharya also Teta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Vilas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Gaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shitweda Gadadha Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopikopanath Sayam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Maturadam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamari Ki Jai Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarni. So, before going on to the Bhagavatam, I just want to talk a little bit about today's festivities. I know you had 2 days of festivities already. So, actually, according to the Gaudiya tradition, today is the actual day for the feast. In case you didn't know, because the feast is held the next day. It's Jagannath Mishra's festival today. And the same thing with Janmashtami. The feast is actually held not the Janmashtami day, but it's held on Nandotsava, for those of you who don't know. So I'm not expecting a feast today because I don't eat feasts any day, because I'm not pious enough to take a feast. But anyway, my feast is just broccoli and whatever, hemp seeds and broccoli. So, in any case, not that I'm wanting a feast. That's not the point. So, but today, but the reason we celebrate the way we do at ISKCON is because people won't come the next day. That's the reason. And that's also the reason why Prabhupada wanted, at least in the Western world, grain feasts on Gaur Purnima and on Janmashtami, because people don't come the next day. That's why. And Prabhupada made that adjustment. I was with Prabhupada in New Vrindavan, I believe it was 72. Yeah, it was 1972, before anyone here was born, before Prabhupada was born, too. So, 1972, and the devotees, they were preparing an Ekadashi feast for midnight for Janmashtami. This is very special year Prabhupada was there. And this was the year Prabhupada did the Bhagavad Dharma discourses. And it was a very beautiful time with Srila Prabhupada. It was actually extremely muddy in New Vrindavan. The mud would come up to the knees. So when Prabhupada came to New Vrindavan, we had to carry him in a palanquin, because there's no question. And Prabhupada's opulent car that he came in was a Volkswagen Bug. So I don't know if any of you remember Volkswagen Bugs. So we would carry Prabhupada up the hill, And that was the year we all had that prasadam fight for Prabhupada's Vyas Puja. We were punching each other just to get a little bit of Prabhupada's cake. So that was a very, very special year. So anyway, so today is the celebration of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. And I'm going to read a little bit about from the Chaitanya Mangal about Jagannath Mishra's festival. So we can hear a little bit about it before we go on to the Bhagavatam, if we have time. So there's a little excerpt. To Jagannath Mishra, this is Mother Sachi calling out to Jagannath Mishra. To Jagannath Mishra, who was near at hand, she called out, "Now our births have borne their fruit. Look at your son's face." The village ladies, so this all happened the next day. Because, anyway, in the evening, generally the men aren't there at the delivery room. And in some cases, in some cultures, the men don't actually see the child for several days. And in some cultures, the child doesn't even come outside for months. So Jagannath Mishra is asked or told by Sachimata, "Look at your son's face." The village ladies happily called out, "Jai, Jai." Seeing the newborn infant, everyone was overcome with bliss. And this is the demigods, the Vedas, and the Naga girls. Those are the snake girls. All came out. Seeing Lord Gauranga, they all cried out, "Jai, Jai." Lord Gaura's fragrance filled the worlds. His every limb was an endless flood of nectar. Gazing and gazing at him, every eye felt cooling bliss. In every heart arose the thought, "This boy must be Lord Krishna, the very life of Braja's girls. Never have I seen or heard of such a boy. What happens to my heart when I gaze at him?" So even looking at the little baby, Nimai, people were just overwhelmed with ecstasy. Amazing. "Never have I seen any person like him." Beautiful demigoddesses said, "Later we shall know the truth of this boy." Overcome, Jagannath Mishra gazed at his son's face. The universe had no power to contain the bliss he felt in his heart. "How many rising moons do I see in his face? His face is like the petal of a blooming lotus. His raised nose is like a sesame flower. I think his fair limbs are like a flood of nectar light." This is Jagannath Mishra thinking like this as he sees baby Nimai. "Gazing at his red lips, splendid, graceful cheeks, and graceful chin, I feel great love arise in me. His neck is like a lion's neck. His shoulders are like an elephant's shoulders. His chest is broad. His arms reach to his knees." Because these are all the signs of a great personality. The eyes and the arms going to the knees. "His body is made of nectar. His hips are broad. His thighs are like banana trees. His feet are like two red lotus petals. On his soles are the marks of the flag, thunderbolt, elephant, goad, lotus, chariot, parasol, chamara, swastika," because that's the Vedic sign of auspiciousness, "jambu fruit, urdhva rekha, triangle, elephant, and water pot." So in this way they can understand they were dealing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. "His form is like this. His form is the sweetest nectar. Never had such a wonderful form come to the earth. His glory is more than the glory of the greatest king of kings." Indra and Chandra, as well as many Devas, Gandharvas, and Kinnaras, all came then to earth. Why did they become filled with such bliss and wonder? Every eye became anointed with nectar. With eternal love, everyone gazed at dear Lord Gaura. How long did the people gaze at the newborn infant? They gazed at him as if he were a very old friend. His every limb was a great flood of nectar. In their hearts, what did the people feel as they gazed at him with their eyes? As they gazed at the infant boy, the people felt their hearts tremble with bliss.
Why did the ladies look at him with languid eyes? Why did their tight belts become slackened? Everyone gazed at the newborn infant, thinking, how many Kamadevas does this boy conquer? Everyone called out, Jai, Jai, Sachi's divine son is not immortal. Amazing, isn't it? I think it's the first time many of you have heard this particular narration. This is actually Jagannath Mishra's celebration. Sachi's son is the new Kamadev. When this nectar comes to my ears, I weep. The master of Goloka has descended to this world. Considering everything, the ladies came to this conclusion. The master of all the worlds came to the earth. Overcome with bliss, Lochan Das speaks these words. There's actually a song, which is in Bengali, but I'm not going to try to sing the song, but here's the translation. Jagannath Mishra was overcome. His words were choked with emotion. Quickly, he invited his kinsmen and performed a great festival for his son. He earnestly tried to make everything auspicious. Bliss filled Sachi's house. No one had the power to stop singing Lord Gora's glories. Glory, glory! The four directions were filled with bliss. The whole city melted with bliss. Hundreds and hundreds of saintly ladies came. They brought gifts of ripe paste and red sindura. With love and bliss, placing her son on her lap, in a voice choked with emotion, Sachi Devi said, please give us the dust of your feet. Please give us your blessings. Bless us, saying, may this child live long. Saying, even though he is not our child, we still think of him as our very own. All the ladies gave their blessings. Saying, to protect his sweeter than nectar body from any calamity, he should be named Nimai. And so here it's described all the ladies named him. Nimai, of course, that was also Nilamba Chakravarti who did that too. On the 8th day, Ashtakalai gifts were given to please the children. On the 9th night was a blissful festival with joyful music. So the festival actually continued. Excuse me. So the festival actually continued for like 8 or 9 days afterwards. Not just one day. Day by day, Sachi's son grew. He was like a full moon walking on the earth. His 2 eyes were splendid with black kajal. He was graceful with Goro Chanda Tilak. He crawled on his hands and knees. He smiled gently with unblinking eyes. Sachi and Jagannath watched their wonderful son. Sachi regularly washed her son's body and anointed it with turmeric and scented oil. Her heart filled with love, she kissed his cheeks. Saintly Sachi was very fortunate. Day by day, moment by moment, the bliss grew in Nadia's villages. No one knew what day of the month it was, or what day of the week, or whether it was day or night. Overcome with ecstatic spiritual love, people forgot themselves. House after house in Nadia's villages became filled with bliss. No one was mindful of who was a man and who was a woman. That's Vaishnavism. We don't identify with the body, no matter what the smarters say. So anyway, of course, we are aware people have different types of bodies, just like people have different cars too, but we don't identify the driver with the car. So, or who was a child or an elder or blind. Everyone was overcome with love. Everyone was wild with peerless bliss, thinking Lord Gora's face. So in other words, this festival continued for years. Jagannath Mishra's festival, it started when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and it was a festival continually in Navadvip. Everyone was overcome with love. Everyone was wild with peerless bliss, thinking Lord Gora's face was like a full moon, and his form had conquered Kamadev. The young girls would wildly leave their duties in their homes. 3 times a day, the village girls ran to see the infant Lord Gora. Let me see, they said. Placing the infant Lord on their laps, the hairs of their bodies would stand erect. Wow. In this way, day by day, Moment by moment, everyone was full of bliss. Lochan Das, whose only hope and only desire is the feet of Sri Narahari Das, thus sings the glories of Lord Gora. Pretty ecstatic. So I thought that was important. And so now we'll go on to the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's a Chaitanya Mangal. It's part of the Chaitanya Mangal, Lochan Das's book on Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. And a lot of the Chaitanya Mangal has these Bengali songs in it. So, very beautiful book. A lot of these pastimes. And there's, I've just been reading also Murari Gupta's Kadacha or Diary, which is really ecstatic too. It's very poetic too. And that was translated by my dear God brother Banu Maharaj. Amazing. I mean, some of these diaries are coming out right now. So, you know, firsthand descriptions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, both in Jagannath Puri and also in Navadvip. Okay, so let's go on to the Bhagavatam. So reading from the 10th canto, 43rd chapter, text 23. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Eta Bhagavata Sakshad Darer Narayanasha He Avatirnav Ihangshena Vasudevasya Vishmane Etau Bhagavata Sakshad Darer Narayana Shaki Avatirna Vihangshena Vasudevasya Vishmehi Etau Bhagavata Sakshad Darer Narayana Shaki Avatirna Vihangshena Vasudevasya Vishme Etau Bhagavata Sakshad Darer Narayana Shaki Avatirna Vihangshena Vasudevasya Vishme right? Etau, these two, Bhagavataha, of the Supreme Lord, Sakshad, directly, Hare, of Lord Hari, Narayanasha, Narayana, he certainly, Avatir now have descended, Iha, to this world, Amshena, as expansions, Vasudevasya, of Vasudeva. Interesting. It's Vasudeva is small. Anyway, Vaishmahe. Translation: the people said, these two boys are certainly expansions, oh, I see, of the Supreme Lord Narayan, who have descended in this world in the home of Vasudeva. So you can repeat. The people said, these two boys are certainly expansions of the Supreme Lord Narayana, who have descended to this world in the home of Vasudeva. So, commentary, no commentary by the servants of His Divine Grace of the Prabhupada, but their commentaries, short commentaries by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Jiva Goswami. For the audience, Krishna and Balaram appeared to be amsas of Narayana. And Srila Jiva Goswami comments, 8 verses describe what they said. They have appeared as direct portions of the Lord, who by his very nature is endowed with all powers, Bhagavataha, who is attractive with all desirables and takes away all suffering, Hare, since he is the shelter of all jivas, Narayanasya. They are not Shaktavesh forms. Thus they will give all desirables. They have now appeared in Mathura, Iha, and in the house of Vasudeva. This shows the Lord's favor toward the people of Mathura. They have appeared in the house of Vasudeva, not born from a womb, since they cannot undergo material transformations as expansions of Narayana. Another hidden meaning is that they have appeared in the house of Vasudeva, who is a portion of the Lord, since the Lord is endowed with all powers. So, Itau Bhagavata Sakshat Dare Narayana Shehi Avatirna Vihang Shena Vasudeva Sha Veshmehe. So Omagana Timiranda Sha Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaha. So it's interesting. They don't think that he's a Shaktavesh avatar, is this word here. Shaktavesh means an avatar. Of course, the word avatar means to descend, to cross down, basically. That's what the word avatar means. So Shaktavesh is one of the many types of avatars of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that are described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and also the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. There, of course, is the guna avatars like Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. There's the Leela avatars, the pastimes avatars, the Manvantara avatars, there's the Yuga avatars. Anyway, many different types of avatars or descents of the Lord. And in some of the cases, the avatars are not Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattva means, of course, God in every sense of the word, omniscient, omnipresent, everything like that. They are empowered jiva souls. Like you have the guna avatars. Generally, the guna avatars, other than Lord Vishnu, are not Vishnu Tattva. Lord Shiva is in a special category. And Lord Brahma is generally a jiva soul unless there's no one to fill that position. In that case, Lord Vishnu takes that particular position. So, and then as far as the Manvanta avatars, it's the same thing. Generally, it's a jiva soul. Uh, and so, in this particular case, they're recognizing it's not an empowered incarnation of the Lord because they're looking at all of Krishna's qualities that are actually much more than an empowered incarnation of the Lord would manifest. And so they're having that realization, but at the same time, they're thinking that Krishna and Balaram are expansions of Narayan, which is really interesting. And you run into this particular, what we call misunderstanding. But Prabhupada didn't consider it to be so serious, although the Bhagavatam does state, Ete Changsa Kalakpumsa Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, that all the different incarnations that are mentioned in the Bhagavatam in the list are portions or portions of plenary portions of Krishna, and Krishna is, of course, the original Ete Changsa Kalakpumsa, and Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. So, but really, we're not so much concerned with fighting with people who consider it something else to be the truth, because we do have this verse, one of my favorite verses I end up quoting all the time, Advaita Chuta Nadi Radanta Rupa Madhyam Puranam Purusham Navayovanam Cha, because there is no difference between Narayana and Krishna and Balaram ontologically. Ontologically means the nature of God. It's the same God. And as we mentioned very clearly last night, we are not polytheists. We don't believe in many gods. We believe in one God, and that one God shows himself in different places according to different circumstances. And actually, in this particular case, Krishna and Balaram in Mathura were expansions of Krishna and Balaram in Vrindavan, which is interesting. Even in Vrindavan, Prabhupada explains that when Krishna kills the demons, he kills the demons in his expansion. So, but what does that mean? Expansion doesn't mean a different person. It just means a different mood of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so this is what's going on here. So the residents of Mathura are not actually wrong in their conception, because things equal to the same thing are equal to each other. So when we talk about expansions or expansions or portions of plenary portions, it's all the same person acting differently. Advaita, one, Achyuta, infallible, Ananta Rupam, exhibiting himself for his pastime's sake, as we also talking about last night, that the reason Krishna manifests himself differently in different circumstances is because he is enjoying it in such a way, and also attracting us by showing us the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, anyway, this is all I had to say about this particular verse. So any questions or comments? Yes, Mother Ramona. Yeah, it's all correct. Yeah. Because it's all the same person. It's just like a person who's home, just like if you have a famous businessman and he's at work or he's at home. Of course, some businessmen live at work, like Elon Musk. But anyway, so, but he's the same person. If you say one is more important than the other, that's your own particular relationship with that person. Like if you're working, for example, if you're working, now I'm using Elon Musk again. Anyway, if you're working for, sorry about that. If you're working for Tesla, then the most important manifestation of Elon Musk is what? At the office. You know, for you, that's your worshipable form, worshipable aspect of the person. And when you're, and for his, of course, I don't think he's married. So, for his girlfriend, many girlfriends. Anyway, so then it's a different aspect of the same person. So it's the same thing with devotees, that devotees have a particular aspect of a person based upon their particular relationship with the person that they consider most worshipable. Just like Hanuman, for example, even though he knows the philosophy of the Bhagavatam, he knows Ete Changsa Kalak Pumsa, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, he really is not that much interested in worshiping Krishna. He simply wants to chant Ram Nam. And even then, when he understood that Krishna was on the planet in Dwarka, and he was worshiping a deity of Ram and chanting Ram Nam, he refused to come to see Krishna because he was more attached to that particular aspect of the Lord, even though he knew they're the same. Even though Garuda told him, you got to come. And even though Garuda tried to force him to come, he sent Garuda flying head over tail, whatever birds have, back to Dwarka. And then finally, when Krishna manifested himself as Sita and Ram, then he agreed to come. So this is the loyalty. And of course, you find this same thing with Murari Gupta, who was considered to be an incarnation of Hanuman. He was just devoted to chanting Sita Ram, Raghupati, Raghava, Rajaram, Patita Pavana, Sita Ram. And Anupama, the brother of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. So devotees are attached, even if they understand what the Bhagavatam says, they're attached to a particular form. And also, even those who worship Krishna and Balaram and Vrindavan, they have particular relationships. And even though they may know that the gopis have the highest relationship, they're attached and they're loyal to that particular relationship to Krishna. So, yeah, continue. You had more questions? Yeah. Yeah. Gopal. Yeah. Yeah, but not respectful. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the residents of Vaikuntha. But some of them know. Some of them do know. I mean, the personified Vedas, they certainly know. Ha- Hanuman knows. Yeah. Okay. Stump the Swami. Yeah. Yeah. Prabhupada said generally that's not the case. Well, I would respond by giving the example of Anupama and Murari Gupta. By example. That's the best way to respond. Because, here's proof. Here's pure devotees, and they were asked by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tested Murari Gupta. Not only did he just show the example of, right above, but he tested him. And Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, Dabir Kasa, and Shakar Balak at that particular time, they tested Anupama. They said, please, my dear brother, chant Hare Krishna with us. And he couldn't do it. He started crying all night long. And the same thing happened with Murari Gupta. He was crying. So there's Lord Chaitanya not only exposing himself as the as Krishna in the mood of Radharani, but demanding. And they said, no way, can't do it. So that's the loyalty. And Lord Chaitanya praised that. I would say he revealed. I wouldn't say he gave the rasa. I wouldn't use that expression precisely. He revealed to the world in general that these rasas exist. And previously it was known, but it was hidden. But he revealed it. So it's not that he gave the rasas. Rasas were, the rasas, sorry, rasas, not rasas, rasas. The rasas were always existing. Yeah. Yes, and that was their choice or pastimes or whatever. Prabhupada said he was asked specifically about this. Can one change their ras? And well, no, one particular interest said generally no. He used the word generally. He left it open for exceptions. So people are satisfied with their particular relationship. Why disturb someone? And why, like I go to Shirangam and they're chanting what? Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. I don't go there and say, hey, chant Hare Krishna. I appreciate it. It's beautiful. When I'm in Vrindavan, I chant Radhe, Radhe. That's beautiful. But when I go to Mayapur, if I say that, the people chastise me. So I have to adapt to each particular location. I did get chastised severely for saying that in Mayapur, yeah. Because I had just come from Govardhan, where everyone says Radhe, Radhe. So, we appreciate it. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, how glorious is that a master will not neglect the servant and the servant will not neglect the man. These are words from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. How glorious it is. That's also in relationship to our relationship with our spiritual master. I just think sometimes people, some people were initiated by Prabhupada and then there's some propaganda, oh, here's someone on a higher platform. I'm not saying there's anyone on a higher platform. That's not what I'm saying. And the people just like searching for nectar, but the whole idea is you have Prabhupada. That loyalty, that chastity to one's spiritual master, or with everyone in ISKCON, to Prabhupada, that has to be encouraged. Not that we go looking for different nectar. Of course, we do read the books of the acharyas. That's a fact. Prabhupada very much appreciated it. I was listening to one memory where one of my godbrothers was asking Prabhupada which books of Bhaktivinoda Thakur are important. Prabhupada said Chaitanya Shikshamrita and Jaiva Dharma, those two books. He said we should read those books. Chaitanya Shikshamrita. And anyway, so Prabhupada did encourage us like that, but to jump over the head of Prabhupada is very dangerous. One should be very loyal as a member of ISKCON to Prabhupada. So, is that all right? Anyway, so that's my answer. Give the example of Murari Gupta and Anupama. Example speaks stronger than actual precept. So, and Prabhupada also said generally not. Yes. Yeah. So that, yeah, he revealed it to them. Yeah, could yeah. The rasa, yeah, it could. It's possible it's not even a change. It's possible that they were just not realizing fully their particular relationship. Yeah. Another point about the chastity, I just want to mention this example, is that one may be married, have a husband and wife. That's what marriage means, as far as I know. And then you might find a movie star who's more attractive than your wife or more attractive than your husband. That, don't get into it. Don't get into it. That is disloyal. Stay chaste to your husband or wife. If you happen to be married. If you're not, if you're a sannyasi, don't worry about it. You can love the movie star. So
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindadalayataksham Bharhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Kriya Priti Manti Vasyan Vipan Vikayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namane Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacha Nivasesha Shunyavadeva Sachade Sacharande Rabani Pacha Nivasesha Shunyavadeva Sachade Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gauranga Vrindaya Sri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gauranga Vrindaya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gauranga Vrindaya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gauranga Vrindaya Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gauranga Vrindaya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Goswami Shila Prabhupada. Namacharya Shila Thakur Vijay. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Javadu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhivardhanam, Pratipadam, Purnamrita Svadanam, Sarvatmasnamanam, Paramijayate, Krishna Sankirtanam, Nam Nam Makari Bahuda Nija Sarvachaktish, Tatrapita Niyamata Smaranena Kala, Etadrashita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi, Gurdaiva Drishanihan, Haninan, Raga, Trinada Peace, Nichena, Turaiva Sahishnuna, Hamanida, Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kabitamba, Jagadishikamaye, Mama Janmani, Janmanishvare, Bhavatad Bhaktir Hai Takichwaye, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitamam Vishame Bhavam Buddha, Kripaya Dava Pada Pankaja, Slita Duli Sadrasam Vichintaya, Nayanam galudashrudaraya vadanam gadgada rudya gira hulaka nishitam vapaku gada tava namagrahane bhavishyati jugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravishaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda vidahename ashli shivapada panashtubam adarshanam marmatam karotava yata tatava vedadatu lampato mat prananatas tu sevanaparaha. Victory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan, it is the prime benediction for humanity at large, as it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen to the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Jai Shikshastika, Shikshastika Ki Jai. And deities are very happy to have Sundari dressing them, the best pujari. Chocolate